Okay, so let's start with this essay on expensive weddings. It is widely discussed at this moment. I think instead of at this moment, I would say these days or nowadays. Whether spending huge sums of money on a wedding ceremony has more advantages than disadvantages. That's fine. In this essay, I'm going to examine this question from both sides and give my own opinion. Okay, in your introduction, I think it's very important to give a clear thesis statement, and a thesis statement should include your opinion, and make it very clear from the start what your opinion is. Now here we don't know from this, you're just saying you're going to give your opinion, but we don't know what it is. So please could you actually specify what your opinion is in your introduction. For example, you could say, I personally believe that expensive weddings have many positive outcomes and less drawbacks than a cheaper one, or whatever your opinion is. It doesn't matter, but make sure it is clear that you give your opinion and provide a thesis statement in your introduction. Okay. Okay, that's the first main point, and that's quite an important point, because actually when people mark an essay, they often look at the thesis statement because they want to know what your viewpoint is, and then they need to see if your essay supports that viewpoint. If we don't know what it is, we then have to go all the way through the essay until we find out what your opinion is. We should know it right from the introduction, okay? On the one hand, there is ample evidence that having a costly ceremony has a number of benefits. Okay, that's fine. The main reason for this is that a big and great wedding ceremony brings a plethora of pleasant moments to a couple and their families. Okay, this is fine. What I would just say though, because remember you get marks for your lexical range, your vocabulary, your use of vocabulary. Now big and great are quite easy words, quite simple words, and you could replace them with words like lavish, extravagant, grand. So you could say, the main reason for this is that a grand and lavish wedding ceremony, just this is an opportunity for you to show your lexical range, okay, and that does increase marks. Brings pleasant moments to a couple and their families. I might say provides a plethora of pleasant memories for a couple and their families. I just prefer that. One good illustration here is the fact that a bride and a groom usually try to invite to their wedding day their nearest and dearest. Yes. It usually leads to huge expenditures, good, but it also helps to bring all members of families together and to unite them. That's a nice sentence. Not only does a costly ceremony allow us to invite, okay, we need to change this a little bit here. Not only does a costly ceremony allow, if you want to use the verb allow, you'd have to have a noun there. Allows the inclusion of many relatives and friends, or allows the invitation of. But it also brings a lot of photos and videos that will save this important day forever. That's 2 words actually. Okay. On the other hand, it's also possible to make an imposing case. It is also argued, okay, you've got a bit of repetition with the word also here, so I would just delete your second also. So it is argued that enormous wedding costs can have a negative impact on the budget of a young family. That's good. For instance, many couples have to save money for a long time in order to have a beautiful and big ceremony. Again, you're using the word big. So try and find some synonyms, so you can extend your vocab range there. There are many synonyms. You could have lavish ceremony, as I've said before. Sometimes it can, or you could have a luxurious. There are many possibilities. Sometimes it can lead to the you need a noun here. It can lead to the postponement of the wedding day. Okay, or even conflicts between future spouses. That's good. Additionally, having a costly wedding ceremony can lead to, again you need a noun, so do be careful of that. So it can lead to the cancellation of a honeymoon. Or you could say can lead to the cancelling of a honeymoon. Okay, that would work as well. Or, so let's be consistent here if you're going to go one way or the other. So having a costly wedding ceremony can lead to the cancelling of a honeymoon or the buying of a new flat or a house. That would work fine. In this case, it seems that extreme costs on a wedding day cause more drawbacks than positive emotions. Because you've used the word drawbacks, I would say than positive outcomes. It just fits better in that sentence. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that in general, the positive sides of having a costly wedding ceremony are more influential than the negative ones. I would actually say are greater instead of influential. So a costly wedding ceremony are greater than the negative ones. On balance, however, I tend to think that it's extremely important for a marrying, just spelling there, you need a Y after the R, marrying couple, to thoroughly consider all possible variants and choose the best ones for themselves in their unique situation. Okay, good. Here you have expressed your opinion clearly. And that's absolutely fine. But my one issue with that, I'd say in my introduction, as I said before, you do have to provide an opinion in your introduction as part of your thesis statement, so that we know what's coming. The other thing I would say here is I really didn't know until your conclusion what your main argument was going to be, because you've provided the positive and the negative very equally. You've balanced that out equally, and then you decide in your conclusion that you agree with spending a lot of money. So I think if you're going to argue more for the advantages as you do here, you probably have to make that clear in the evidence that you provide. Okay, I mean, you do have to look at both sides. I'm not saying don't do that, but just make sure that the focus is more on the positive than the negative. In other words, your paragraph where you are supporting it, which is your argument, you could provide more examples to support it. I also would have liked more specific examples, like at the top of this essay you can see, for example, recent empirical research by the UK government demonstrated that 90% of all. That's a very clear example with some statistics. So I think to add more authority to this essay, you could include some more sort of scientific or sort of good authority for some reliable research just to back up your arguments. Okay, but overall it's very clear and well done. Okay, so now let's look at the job application letter. Dear Sir, Madam, my name is Natalie and I'm writing... Okay, the first thing I want to say is this is quite a long sentence, so you don't need to say your name at the beginning, because your name is clearly given at the end. So I would just start with, I'm writing in order to apply for a web manager's position in the Open Web company that was published on the Headhunter website on February the 20th. Okay. I have a degree in computer science and I've also more than 5 years experience in web management. I also, okay, you've got a repetition of the word also. Remember, you need to show your lexical range, so why don't you say in addition or furthermore? Okay, so just to avoid that repetition. So furthermore, I finished several qualification courses in this field that helped me to grow up. Okay, grow up is actually only used for children. Children grow up from children to adults. So you have to delete the up. But actually I would prefer the word advance here. So in this field, that helped me to advance from easy projects to very sophisticated ones. Okay. I thoroughly read the description of your position. You can be more concise and just say I've thoroughly read the job description. It's always better to make your sentences concise. Okay. So I've thoroughly read the job description and I'm very interested in this job. And then to avoid the repetition of job, you can say I'm very interested in this position. So I've read the job description and I'm very interested in this position. The main reason for this is that I find the field of your projects is very exciting, as many of your websites are connected with AI products. Okay. Okay, I've been studying the AI algorithms for 5 years in my university. Now, I think you've completed your university because you say you have a degree, so I would use the past simple here. Because if you say I have been studying, it means you are still studying. So I would say I studied for 5 years in my university. That's fine. Okay. Therefore, I'll be extremely glad to continue my career with close. Okay, this sentence hasn't been finished. I'm not quite sure what happened there, so I'm just going to have to try and guess what you mean. What I think you mean is, therefore, I'll be extremely glad to continue my career in a field that is close to my academic studies. I've been working as a web project manager for more than 4 years, and I've already successfully launched 12 complex projects. That's good. All the projects are fully described in my CV, which is in the attachment to this letter. Okay. I will be glad to have your feedback on this letter. Okay, your last sentence I would delete. In the real world, people wouldn't have time to give you feedback on a letter. They may receive, 50, 100 job applicants, so applications, so you can't really ask for feedback. What you could say is, I hope you will consider this application, or I look forward to hearing from you, something like that. Yours sincerely, it's fine, I'll see if okay. Just one little point actually, if you don't know the names of the people you're writing to, as in this case, dear sir or madam, it should be yours faithfully. Yours sincerely is used when you know the name of the person. Okay, overall it's fine, you've completed the task, you have dealt with all the 3 things that were required. What I would say is try to be concise when you can be, and also try to show evidence of your vocabulary range. So avoid repeating the same words, or look for synonyms of those words. Okay. All right. Well done. It's clear that it's a good effort.